if I get emotional or anything, it's perhaps both the giver and the recipient of the word. So bear with me. It's not about me, it's about Larry. Words from Patrick. It was Larry Peterson who first told me about Hanover Church. He called while I was in Tallahassee, preparing to move to Delaware in July of 1994 to tell me about this wonderful community and their search for a music director. I had no idea at that time how this downtown, urban, intentionally interracial, intergenerational, social justice-making, spirit-filled gathering of disciples who were committed to the full inclusion of LGBT people in the life of the church would turn my whole world upside down and change my life forever. And I suspect Larry didn't realize they would be doing the same with him either. My University of Delaware office was right next door to Larry's, and that meant that we often took a few minutes out of our busy days, running to this class or that lesson to chat about the best new movie, the latest blazing soprano at the Met, the funniest new lowbrow sitcom, department politics, life, family. Gradually those conversations changed and deepened, as is the way with friends, until one day Larry asked me to step into his office and close the door. He told me that if the organist position at Hanover ever came open, he would be interested, and he told me why. New musical adventures, yes. A beautiful instrument to play in a gorgeous space, yes. But more than all that, life's path was changing. And the Spirit was calling Larry to find a community of people who understood struggle and change, the ambiguity of not knowing what comes next, and the blessing and promise of new beginnings. And then, almost as if by prophetic action, the organist position came open. And Larry brought his musical gifts, his heart for worship, and commitments to the gospel, and slid them all right onto that organ bench. And how blessed we have been. Even before he came to Hanover, he'd had a profound influence on our musical life. He showed me his favorite new anthems, the latest Tom Troger or Brian Wren hymns, and introduced me to the Robert Ray Gospel Mass, which we sang at the first Gospel Vespers back when we were all young together. But Larry in person is so much more than Larry advising. And his love of and skill at the instrument, his great care in planning worship music, and his thoughtful and good-natured, collaborative way of working brought a new vitality, wide musical palette, and invitation into deep prayer into our midst. I cannot hear Tom Locklear's "The Peace May Be Exchanged" without thinking of Larry, from whose fingers I first and often heard it. Take a moment now to think of hymns, songs, anthems, or voluntaries Larry has played these last 12 years, and how your heart soared, your tears flowed. You felt just a little less alone in this world, and a little more embraced by the divine presence in your midst. And give thanks. In my season with Larry at Hanover, he was literally instrumental in choosing and caring for the beautiful new grand piano, and bringing his ever-expanding repertoire of hymn arrangements and New Age meditations to the front of the sanctuary. One of the great joys of music making inside these stone walls, for me, was getting to play piano while Larry played organ, which is a no-no with many American Guild of Organist types, who would surely have talked about us at cocktail parties. Listening closely across the space, improvising here and there, following a course, but knowing in the moment when it was okay to expand the plan, all with these vibrations and frequencies joined by the raised voices of the saints of many times and this place. A foretaste, I think, of the realm of God. And not a bad metaphor for living life till we get there. until we get there, has been made better by Larry's work in other fronts. In a career full of inviting young minds into the complexities of isorhythmic motets or the beauty of the latest Tosca, as a scholar, practitioner, and teacher of music history. As a ministerial presence to a host of couples whose lives were changing in ways none of them had anticipated, offering comfort and wisdom in a time of deepest need. As a scholar and teacher of the relatively emerging field of LGBT studies, and as an advocate and protector of LGBT youth, Larry has led the way, and will no doubt continue to do so, even as his path again calls him in new directions. So let us give thanks to God for Larry Peterson, musician, teacher, prophet, friend. And let us give thanks to God for Hanover Church, cradle of creative spirit, defender of the weak, widener of the ever-expanding circle, and lover of God. And let us give thanks for 12 years of a match made in heaven. The peace has truly been exchanged. Patrick Evans, New York City, January 22, 2011.